whatever that may look like for that particular client. Seeing clients who are able to escape unsafe and traumatic situations, who move forward and thrive, is really, truly an amazing part of the work that we get to do. And so I would like to invite TRLA attorney Julia Rodriguez to introduce our next speaker and her former client, Marianna Sanchez.
My name is Julia Rodriguez, and I'm the Director of Client Services here at Texas Rio Grande Valley. But for many years, I directly represented survivors of family violence and sexual assault in court. And like many of you, I see clients during the toughest times of their lives, and then they move on, and I don't get to hear from them again. I have been very fortunate to have kept up with my former client, Marianna Sanchez, who is here today to speak to you all. For many of you, this is not the first time you've been with us. If you were with us in 2017, you heard Marianna. And so I think in keeping with the theme of today, which we heard earlier about not just surviving but thriving, you will hear from Marianna a different story than you heard in 2017. She is continuing her path of healing and her path of success. And I'm so honored to be able to see someone so many years after I represented her before. So welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me back to speak to you all today. Please excuse me if I'm on stage. I did the 9/11 climb here in San Antonio, where you climb the stairs of the Tower of America. So I am so sore, and I don't wear heels, so it's like a double whammy. So thanks to my husband for bringing me up. So yes, as Julia said, I had the great honor of speaking here in 2017, just 1 year after leaving my abuser. And just out of curiosity, how many of y'all were here in 2017? That's amazing. So I don't know if you remember me from then. I was very little and I had a little mark, but the story is much different now. A lot has changed. And in preparation for today, I watched my speech from 2017 and I was so overcome with emotion. You see, my story, it starts far before my abuse. I was pregnant at the age of 15, and I had my son, Justin, who he's the light of my life. As you can imagine, being a teen parent was very difficult. I went from being 100 pounds and ended my pregnancy at 250 pounds. I had preeclampsia, and that destroyed every bit of self-confidence I had. I looked at my body riddled with stretch marks, and I compared myself to other girls my age, and I didn't really feel worthy of much. And now looking back, I realized how that had led me to a very vulnerable place where I was susceptible to my now ex-husband's abuse. When I was 18, I met my now ex-husband, where I worked in the emergency room, and he was my superior. Red flag, right? He was 11 years my elder, and unfortunately, we all know how significant that age difference is at the young age of 18. I was so focused on trying to be a successful mother and build my family, and I saw a man who had a stable job, was ready for a family, and promised me everything I could dream of. I fell head over heels for him, and now after therapy and much healing, I realized what he did was love on me for 7 months. And then he pressured me into a marriage that I didn't want or was ready for. And I was so ashamed of this marriage, I didn't tell anyone, not even my family. I didn't want it. He took advantage of me in every way there is to. He physically abused me on a regular basis and mentally abused me to the point where I believed I deserved every bit. And I would like to share a little excerpt of my speech from 2017. He did something I became all too familiar with as he walked back into the room, still yelling at me, and raised his fist and struck me in the face as he proceeded to pin me to the bed, continuously striking me and headbutting me and belittling me. I had a moment where I could get away, so I ran to the door, and he knocked me to the ground. And of course, my body was full of pain. I couldn't find the strength to get up, so I closed my eyes, and I swallowed through my tears and let him just beat me. I saw him walking to the restroom, and I heard a snap, and he broke the towel rod and started hitting me again and again with it. in his eyes was back somehow, and I felt safe. I held on to him and just broke down and expressed to him how terrified I was. And he continued to reassure me that it would never happen again. And this is just one of the examples of the physical abuse, but we all know it's the emotional that lingers. So an example of my headspace of that was I once got into a car accident. I was T-boned, and when I called him shaking, crying, he said, "How could you do this to our family? We can't afford to fix this. It's your fault. How could you do this?" And that night when he was abusing me, I was crying, but I wasn't crying because I was scared. I was crying because I felt like I let my family down. Like, that's the headspace I was in. So the mental abuse is still what lingers and haunts me. But thankfully, this is not where my story ends. And I cried watching the speech, and I cried for the young girl that I was, and I had so much healing to do. And I cried for the battles that were to come, but I also cried tears of joy for the life that I have now. In 2017, I stood here in front of you all, and I truly did not believe that I would find a partner who would accept me for who I am. I still have this overbearing subconscious thought that I am less than. But little did I know I had already met my soulmate. I was attending classes at UTSA to earn my bachelor's, and I was assigned to a middle school teacher to observe his class. We added each other on Facebook, and in 2018, I saw he had recently gone through a breakup, and I thought I would shoot my shot because he caught my attention. So as my son would say, I slid into his DMs. I saw he recently got through a breakup, so I was trying to relate that I just wanted to hear from him. I was not very nice to my husband, even though I'm the one who pursued him, because this would be my first relationship after my marriage. So even though I'm the one who pursued him, the next 2 months, I put him through the ringer. I was so scared that his genuine nice acts were love bombing again, and I struggled with trusting another person, but he was so patient with me as I worked through my emotions. And he would always say, "I only want what's best for you, even if that's not with me." And I finally leaned in, and that was the best decision I could have made. This man is the most genuine, kind, patient, loving, amazing husband I could ever ask for. And just a few months into us dating, I began getting sick. I didn't know what we were in for. We had many ER visits, and the first night I ever spent overnight with my husband was at the ER after a emergency surgery. And he's a teacher, and he was teaching at the time, and he was exhausted and slept on the little hospital couch for some girl that he just started dating, and he was exhausted going to school the next day, but he was committed, and I was so confused. But I'm so grateful that I leaned into it. My sickness progressed, and even though we were just a new couple, just a few months in, any person would have put their hands up and turned the other way. But he said that he just wanted to be by my side, love and support me. And he did through my diagnosis of what we know now is lupus, an autoimmune disease where my body attacks itself. So the diagnosis of lupus was a difficult one, and the treatment was even worse. I was put on high-dose steroids, prednisone, and chemo to get my immune system in check. And this was 1 month before COVID. And so they said, "Hey, Monty, you're going to be immunocompromised." And I said, "Okay, don't really know what that means." And then that was everything that we heard, you're immune compromised. So at that point, Erik and I, we were living together, and he was teaching high school while I was going to school full-time to finish my Christmas present to each other. It's an art piece called Kintsugi, which is the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. And we didn't talk about making this, I kind of briefly looked at it in an art form, and we actually made our own. So Kintsugi teaches us that in life we can turn adversity into something that's beautiful and resilient. Kintsugi shows us that in time we can heal from our wounds and embrace our imperfections and become stronger. It reminds us that no matter our difficulties, we can find a way to reframe and find meaning in life. So you take a broken pottery and you're supposed to use gold, but I'm on a budget. I didn't use gold, we use gold powder. So you break it and then you repair it with gold, and the gold makes it stronger and you're more beautiful because of your crafts. And that's what we made for each other. He made one for me and I made this for him. And when we gave it to each other, our first Christmas dating, we both just started laughing. That's romantic. So we were both made for one another, and we help the brokenness that we both feel and the beauty and strength in our life. And this is just an example of the complexity and depth of our relationship. But the brokenness that we navigate is very similar because my husband too is a recipient of the Erik County Family Justice Center services, and he too is a victim of domestic violence. So I would like to bring him up to share a bit of his story.
The relationship I escaped in 2018 was horribly abusive. My ex-girlfriend would physically destroy my home in jealous rages and physically abuse not only me, but my daughter who was living with me at the time. She would trap me in my home, not let me go to work. And when I would escape, I'd have to quickly put on my clean face so that I could teach and not appear as having gone through the horror that I had just experienced that morning. And I was fearful for my life, for my daughter's life, but also I was worried that people wouldn't believe me because I was a male and I hadn't really heard so much about men being used in their relationships. So I was concerned about people not taking me very seriously. But after my body had multiple bite marks, my home was destroyed from the rages, my daughter was fearful. I reached out to the Family Justice Center for help, and I was seen, I was reassured, I was believed, and I was granted a protective order against my abuser. And in my case, the protective order was successful, and the abuser has stayed with me ever since. And now I can build a healthy, loving relationship with my beautiful wife. And we've been working on healing both of our hearts from everything that we've endured. So thank you very much.
So we both stand here today as a success story because of each and every one of you. We both are here today because of what you all have done, and that has brought us both together as well. I think about the impact that I've had in the 7 years since last time I was here, how many lives I've impacted, whether it's through teaching, through my nonprofit, or just my everyday life. And the number is easily in the thousands. And that's not to toot my own horn, but we're public servants, we're teachers, it happens. But that's not my number. None of the impact I've had or my successes would be possible without Julia Rodriguez, my attorney who is my shining light during the darkest moments of my life. And if it were not for you, I don't think I would be standing here today. And if we think of the impact that my husband has had as a teacher, as a mentor, the number is also easily in the thousands. And again, none of that would be possible if we were still in our abusive relationships or dead, if we're being honest. I bring this up because I want to highlight the magnitude of the impact that you all have. Julia, you saved me. And because of that, I'm able to make a positive impact on this world. And because of the work that you all do, Erik and I have found each other in a genuine relationship full of love and helping others. Erik and I have now been married for almost 3 years, and we have a and you want to help others. But please do not neglect your own self-care. And I'm not talking about face masks and bubble baths. Yeah, take those are great. But people like us, we like to pour. We pour ourselves into everyone else. And we pour, and even when our glass is empty, we're looking at the bottom of the glass trying to pour more. We don't have any more to pour. But you can't pour from an empty glass. The stories you all hear every day, they're traumatic, and it weighs on the heart. And you all have saved me, and with that same love, I hope to encourage you to take the time for yourself. Make sure you turn off your work and you focus on yourself, your family. Make sure you charge your heart so you can continue charging others. Go to therapy, do what you need to do. That's the real self-care that I'm talking about, because you take on the pain of others, but you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. So today we stand here with love and gratitude as a couple brought together after abuse, supported by you all. My lupus is now under control and I'm healthier than ever. Being in a loving, supportive relationship has changed everything for me. Since being with my husband, I not only finished my bachelor's degree, but I went on to get my master's in curriculum and instruction, where I was a speaker at my graduation as well. And I'm currently getting my second master's in digital marketing. I left the classroom to protect my immune system as I'm on immunosuppressants. I actually just came from an infusion this morning. But I know I have so much to offer this world with my heart and my mind. And so I'm pursuing a career in marketing where hopefully I can still make a positive impact while keeping myself safe. And I couldn't have been in this place if it wasn't for you all and Julia. And I'm just one of the many people who've been impacted, my husband included. And so I just want to wholeheartedly thank you all. And I want to look at every one of you because I just see so much love in this room, and I just thank you. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for protecting my husband's life. Thank you for seeing value in me when I couldn't see it in myself. And thank you for all you do. But please just love yourselves too, and make sure you're helping yourself, pouring into your own cup, because you all deserve it too. Thank you.